there's probably some differences between the MCAT and LSAT in the fact that a lot of times, let's say you get a question wrong on MCAT, there is some reading comprehension, but a lot of times it might also be, oh, I just didn't know that content, so I'm going to go and memorize it. How does it work for the LSAT, where I have to imagine it's tough sometimes because that exact question, you're never really going to see that content again, maybe the structure of it, but does that make sense what I'm
Yeah,
asking?
I'm really glad you asked that because the LSAT does not contain memorization. So that could be one key difference there. But there are certain patterns that repeat. There are certain question types. Like, for example, in logical reasoning, there's something like 15 different question types based on what's called the question stem. So they'll ask you to strengthen an argument or weaken an argument or identify the flaw in an argument. And so some students may notice trends where they have more trouble with flaw questions than with strengthening questions, in which case you've ID'd a weak area, drill flaw questions on the side to get better at figuring out exactly what you need to do to ID a flaw. It could be that you prephrase or predict the flaw, articulating it for yourself before looking for the description of it in the answer choices. But there's also repetition of concepts in terms of methods of reasoning in the argument in a question. And so there might be a correlation causation flaw in an argument, or an ad hominem personal attack, where you're attacking the speaker's personal background rather than the substance of their argument. And so if you have trouble with that kind of flaw, that could be a concept that's not particular to flaw questions, but rather that kind of argument in general. And so there are these patterns of repetition where if you review in depth, you will figure out your mistakes and know what to do next time around. I've put this together in what I call the Socratic review method, where you specifically look at the argument, the question, and the answer choices to see exactly where your misunderstanding stemmed from. It takes time, but it's worth it. And I actually have students write out their thought processes like they were writing actual explanations to explain to somebody else. It takes a lot of time. You can't do this for every single problem you ever attempt, and not even all the ones you get wrong, which is why I'll say do fewer questions in more depth, like we talked about. And I also recommend, like you said, not even doing a cold diagnostic. So you didn't actually say that, so I don't want to put words in your mouth. But what I was saying is, like, for the LSAT, because there's so much to learn up front and kind of everybody needs to learn the same things, I actually personally don't recommend doing a cold diagnostic before jumping in. I say we've all got to learn the same material, start from the beginning. You'll have plenty of time for practice tests later, and those initial ones can often be discouraging though. So I say, let's just take it apart piece by piece, step by step. Thanks for tuning into the show. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already to be notified of new episodes as I release them. And feel free to reach out if you need anything at all as you move forward with your prep. I'm happy to help however I can. In the meantime, I'll wish you all the best and take care.